All right, we are back. Let's dive into some more of your questions. How long are they filming in Spain for? I'm just nervous because EK is still clearly in LA. I know filming just started, but it will still be going on by the time season 2. But will it still be going on by the time season 2 is coming to an end? I do not know off the top of my head how long they are filming. I would assume for a while, so... I mean, season 2 is only going to be 6 episodes, so they may still be filming by the time it's over, but I'm just not sure. I couldn't find a specific time frame for how long it's going to be going on, but I wouldn't worry too much about Emily not being there. I know that she's not there right now, but she is doing some other suspicious stuff in terms of what she's posting on social media. I'll try to get to that later in probably a later video, but keep in mind, I actually took another ask like this last week, and it's just a matter of, you guys, we know this from many, many seasons of the flagship show. It's not that hard for them to hide actors filming. There were certain times that they took precautions and other times that they didn't so much. Like the only time that I can think of that they didn't hide it very well or just really couldn't was when Glenn and Abraham both died, end of season 6, beginning of season 7. And the problem was that it was by default. You can't, it's like saying you can't prove a negative. You can't hide someone not being there. And so it was a matter of nobody knew for sure that they weren't there, but people were saying they weren't seeing them on set. And, people kind of said, well, they could be in studio, they could be this, that, and the other. But because those characters were big characters on the show and they tended to do really physical scenes, especially Abraham, people were used to seeing them in the normal filming area and we weren't seeing them. And then as it turned out, there was a reason for that. It was because they were Negan's 2 victims. But again, that was because they had been on the show for a long time and then they just suddenly weren't there. And so it was really hard to fake that, right? We do know that back in season 3, after Lori and T-Dog died, which happened early to middle season, they actually kept those actors coming back to the set so that people would see them going in and so nobody would know they were dead. I don't know why they didn't do that with Glenn and Abraham other than maybe they just couldn't swing it because the actors had other jobs, so they couldn't do that or it cost too much money or they just didn't care enough. I don't know. But overall, this is kind of a different situation because Beth has not been on the show for a long time, and so nobody's expecting her to be there. So no one's looking for her to be anywhere. So just remember that she has gone to Europe more than once in the past few months, apparently just to attend cons that don't pay hardly any money. So we think that she has already done a lot of filming for whatever she's going to be doing. And, like you said, I think what you're implying here is if the filming is still going after season 2 when she's revealed, then they won't have to hide her as much. And I think that could be a thing too. Yeah, so we don't know, but we're waiting to see. And overall, this sort of thing just never bothered me. Another really good example, and again, it was still different because he was not on the show yet, but when Kari Payton, who plays Ezekiel, became part of the show, he talked about how he was there all season in season 7 filming and nobody saw him. No cameras caught him, nothing. And it was because they did all of his filming in studio where the cameras couldn't see. And in order to get there, they literally would, stash him in the back of the van under a pile of coats. So nobody saw him. Nobody knew he was going to be in that season until the trailer happened because he was in the trailer, okay? And that was a great surprise. People got really excited about Ezekiel, becoming a character on the show. So there are a lot of ways to do this, and especially when we're dealing with Europe, which is very far away, it would not be hard to hide at all. And I've said this before too, but I think they give us the official filming season. And yes, they are actually filming during the official filming season. We see them filming, we see videos coming out and fans talking about it who are standing around watching and that sort of thing. So they are, but that doesn't mean that that is their only filming season. We've seen this before where they go back and forth and do reshoots and redubs, and there's all kinds of ways and reasons that they could be doing filming elsewhere. They could be doing it in studio where you don't see. They could go out to a completely different place, a completely different property to do it, and nobody would know. So I've just never been bothered by stuff that happens outside the show that so many people seem to get worried about. If she's coming back and everything that we have said is correct, then they will figure it out, and I think they will figure out a way to do it secretly so that no one knows until she's actually revealed. So her being in LA right now just doesn't bother me. I think she's done whatever filming she was going to do. Well, obviously, any filming she did for season 2, even if it's just her showing up in a Coda or something, obviously would have already had to have been done because season 2 is about to come on, so the production is pretty much finished. Anything for season 3, she may have already filmed, but there's also plenty of time for her to film it later too. So try not to worry too much about this. I do think that Emily often puts things on social media and she'll timestamp it or put her location on there, and it is specifically so that she's front and center and people know that this is what she's doing, and she does it as a way to mislead us so that, we aren't thinking about her filming. But there have also been plenty of times where she's gone really quiet on social media that's out of character for her, and we don't know what she's doing during that time, and she hasn't announced any new projects, and that's when we're going, okay, I think she might be filming something, so we'll just kind of have to wait and see how it plays out. All right, so Natural Blue 26, this is another question about the season 2 posters. It's interesting to me that while they're technically facing each other, their eyes aren't making contact, almost like they're focused on different things. Yeah, I think that's a really astute observation. One of the things that we've heard, I want to say Norman has said it, is too many interviews and I can't remember who said what, but they've talked about how he now has loyalty to these new people, meaning Laurent and Isabel to some extent, and when Carol finds him, they've kind of hinted that he's not going to be the same person that he used to be, and, that might even create a little bit of friction between Daryl and Carol. Not that they're going to not like each other or anything, but they might be a little bit on different pages when it comes to getting back home, at least at first. And so that'll just be interesting to see. But yeah, we've said many times that because this is the book of Carol, she's going to be dealing with her demons. We know she's going to have Sophia flashbacks and such. And, Daryl can help her with that because he was there for Sophia for that whole thing. But he's focused on Laurent and his loyalties to the people he's met in France, and she's focused on other things. And you can see that is going to be an interesting dynamic in the show. So yeah, I absolutely think that you're right about this. And yeah, let's put it this way. We know that they were never going to make Daryl and Carol a romantic thing, but if they were, I think they would have done something with them looking at each other or looking into each other's eyes or something like that. So just the way that the posters are, think about every romance poster you've ever seen, every chick flick, the way that the love interests are positioned on the poster, it makes it obvious that it is a romance, and this is certainly not that. So yes, I agree, and thank you for that. Okay. Boofy777, how are you? More Facebook stuff. Hello. I don't follow this page, but a post came up on my Facebook feed, most likely because I do follow other TWD stuff. The page is called Lost Auto Story, and when I checked it out, it seems to be a series of in-depth studies on characters and scenes from different shows, including characters from Supernatural, TWD, Game of Thrones, etc. So, anyway, this post is referring to some of the most intense and emotional moments of the TWD series. So the first one is Daryl picking up Beth's body. And yes, the title includes the little stars on each end. The paragraph goes on to describe the impact Beth's death had on Daryl, and also includes the sentence, when he gently picks up Beth's lifeless body, the scene underscores the deep bond he had formed with her. There's also a picture from behind the scenes which shows Daryl from the rear view carrying Beth and Maggie on the ground while Glenn tries to comfort her. But here's the thing that jumped out at me right away. We as the viewing audience never saw Daryl pick up Beth's body. I was thinking that too when I was reading it. I hadn't gotten to this paragraph yet, but yeah, exactly. Gently or sling her over his shoulder like a sack of potatoes. What we saw was him dropping to the ground and making whimpering noises, and then the epic scene of Team Family walking out of the hospital with Daryl carrying her in the bridal carry pose. And they mentioned this twice in the title and then in the description as well. Maybe we will get to see these moments in some way coming up. Probably nothing, but just wanted to share. So yeah, this is super interesting. So I went and found this, and I will show everybody a picture of the post that she is referring to. Now, the one thing I will say, if there is any chance at all that this is official or this was fed to them by an official source, then wow, yeah, that's huge. But there's no way to know that that is the case. This could be a fan account, and if that is the case, then they're just not wording it very well. They're saying, because obviously he did pick up her body at some point. So, in order to be carrying her out. So they might be using that as a description of, they just mean him walking out with her, and that's just the way that they're wording it. So, the wording is just really kind of inaccurate. So yeah, there's just no way to know for sure if this is an official thing or not. It doesn't look particularly official, and I've said many times that I do think a lot of the bigger accounts, the writers, the powers that be, will feed them stuff, but this isn't even really one of those online article accounts like comicbook.com or anything. This is just a page on Facebook, and it says at the top, hold on, let me go back to the main page here. It says digital creator. And I mean, they do have a lot of followers. They've got about 12,000 followers, which is a lot. And I don't know, though. It doesn't seem to me like their posts are getting a ton of love. They don't usually have more than, I don't know, between like 5 and 20 likes on them. So I don't know. I don't know that we can look at this and say that it's official, much as we would love to say that it is. I'm typing to get back to the original post here so I can look at it again. So yeah, I just want to put that out there, that I don't know that we can rely on this as an official source and as it being an actual thing. But all of that said, back to what you asked. You asked if maybe we will see this, and then of course there's a couple of behind the scenes, well, people call them behind the scenes photos from, the end of Coda, where, I mean, there's the one that you talked about that they use in this post where the camera is behind Daryl and we can see Maggie and Glenn. But there's another one too where Maggie goes up to Daryl and she's crying, and it's like she's touching Beth and wanting to maybe hold her or something, and we don't see that either. And people call those behind the scenes shots because we didn't see them in the show, right? And that's true, but I don't think they're behind the scenes shots. I think they're shots that we are going to see at some point. So you asked, maybe we'll get to see him picking her up. Yeah, I think that's possible. I kind of think that maybe what they'll do is they'll go back through the scene and they have to just show us what we missed, right? So whether it was Dawn that shot her and they're just missing a chunk of it so we didn't see her pull out her gun, or whether it was somebody else who shot her. If it was somebody else from behind Dawn, which is kind of the prevailing theory, then maybe we'll see it from their point of view. We'll see what was actually going on, who actually fired, what they were actually shooting at. Maybe we'll see somebody in the hospital watching the group leave with Beth. You know what I mean? I think we'll see it from a completely different perspective in order for the audience to understand what actually went down there that we missed back in season 5. And with that being the case, we may see him pick up her body. I've talked many times about how official sources from the show have said that they tried to bury her in a white church, and it didn't really work because a Walker horde came through, and I think we're going to see all of that. We know that they filmed at that white church during season 5. Emily posted during that filming 3 monkeys, the whole hear no evil, speak no evil, see no evil, and it was really obvious, so those are part of the missing scenes from season 5 that we haven't seen. So we know we're going to see that at some point. We have to. But it would not surprise me at all if we do see him pick her up in the hallway. And we do, because remember the other thing that's weird is they didn't show her face again after she got shot. And to this day, we don't know exactly why they made that choice creatively not to show her face again. I hope we get an answer on that, but maybe they will when they go back and show it to us. And I don't know, the only thing I can think of is that the bullet was so high on her head that it would have been obvious that it was not a mortal wound. And yes, you can counter that with the fact that we do see a shot when she is first shot of her head going back, and we see it go in. And then, of course, in Tyrese's hallucination, she's got blood pretty high on her forehead. And so I don't know. Yeah, I mean, those are great ways to debunk what I just said, and I don't know the answer, but I am assuming we'll get the answer sooner or later. So yeah, I mean, I love the idea of this post. I love the idea that we're going to see this, but I just don't know that this is a terribly reliable source to say it for sure. The other thing I noticed is I was looking through the comments on the post. So if you guys want to go look at it, you can go look at the comments. And most of them are pretty good. Most of them are just saying, oh, it was so sad and I hated that and Beth was so sweet, and talking about her impact on Daryl. There's 1 or 2 haters. I saw I saw one that literally just made me laugh because they said, Dawn didn't kill Beth. She killed herself. That was Beth's fault or something. You know, they're just being mean. But I was going, yeah, well, she didn't shoot herself in the forehead, guys. Come on now. Anyway, but I did notice that one comment claimed that AI had written this post. Now, I have no idea if that's true or not. It would explain why the wording is off, but I also, you know, coming back at it from the other direction, I also wonder if the reason somebody said that is because it so clearly is not what happened in the show, and so they're going, oh, well, it must be AI because it's making mistakes. So I don't know the answer to that. I have no idea if AI wrote it or if somebody just thinks that because, you know, as you pointed out, we didn't actually see him pick up Beth's body, so something's off here, you know. So I don't know, but thank you for sharing that. That's really, really interesting, and I guess I'll just end by saying I hope we get to see all of that, and yeah, we'll just have to wait around and hope for it, I guess. All right, guys, I'm going to end there for this video. Thank you so much for sending in your questions, and I'll be back soon with more. Bye!